What's up, guys? Welcome back to Kryptonite. Be your own bank. Because that's what crypto allows you to do. That's what the blockchain and the technology of the blockchain allows you to do. It allows you to be your own bank, custody your own funds in your own wallet, excuse me, and transfer from anyone to anyone in the world, peer to peer, with no intermediaries whatsoever. And it allows you to use financial instruments on the blockchain, such as lending and borrowing, basic ones, as well as many other ones that a lot of people do use. Those very rich folks tend to use those tools, but you usually have to have at least $100,000 of assets before a bank is going to let you use those financial instruments. Whereas with crypto and the blockchain, you can use them whenever you want, no matter how much money you have. So it definitely allows each individual person to be their own bank, which is the main part of my channel here. So, guys, let's talk about a couple big news topics of the day. The big one, which is good for people in the crypto community, we're excited about this, and that is Gary Gensler stepping down from the SEC. He is still the head of the SEC until January 20th, and that's going to coincide with Trump's inauguration because he's definitely not going to stick around with Trump there. Trump would probably have fired him anyway if he wasn't going to step down. So I'm sure he just stepped down because he knew he was getting fired anyway. So anyway, he got onto the SEC in about 2021. He was appointed by Joe Biden to be the head of the SEC. I can't speak for other things the SEC has done. I focus mainly on the crypto industry and what the SEC has done to the crypto industry. And unfortunately, Gensler has not been good for the crypto industry, which is not a surprise because the administration that he was hired by, the Joe Biden administration, they are very anti-crypto. They don't like crypto. They don't like the power it gives the individual person to take custody of their own money and to have self-sovereignty. They don't like that. They don't want you to have control of your own money. They would, if they had it their way and you wouldn't put up a fight about it, they would give you a central bank digital currency, which would be complete and utter control over every one of your financial decisions. And they could cut you off at any time if they wanted to, based on if they don't like maybe what you had to say or maybe what you're spending your money on. They cut you off. Nobody wants that. That is pure totalitarianism. That is the worst possible state for humanity to be in, is something like that, where our money is, we're micromanaged to the point where, oh, you used your carbon credit for the week, no more money, you can't buy any more gas or any more meat or something like that, right? We don't want that kind of world. We don't want that kind of society, which is why I'm very happy that Trump got in, because he is going to make sure that no central bank digital currency is created here in the United States anytime soon. That is huge. We do not want that. Believe me, that will lead to just some of the worst things that you will see. That kind of power and control is not good. Not good. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Always remember that. So Gensler stepping down, aka being fired by the Trump administration. He will look to bring someone else on board, someone who's probably pro-crypto. Now, when we look at Gensler, what he's done, his legacy for his years in the SEC, again, I can't speak to any other financial areas that he has done because I don't focus on those. In terms of the crypto industry, he pretty much just went after the crypto industry. He went after Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, these major firms. He went after them, even though someone like Coinbase was trying to comply with everything. He was there's the court documents and statements of the Coinbase saying, okay, we'll do this, okay, we'll do that. Okay, they're trying to comply with everything the SEC wanted them to do, but the SEC was purposely making it to where there was no regulatory clarity, so that way there's no way Coinbase could actually comply to anything because there was no structure, there was no clarity in terms of what the regulations are. They did this on purpose to make sure that Coinbase or these other companies couldn't operate, and some of them actually had to move overseas because they could no longer operate in the U.S. There was just too many issues involved with no clarity and constantly being sued, and the SEC going after them for things they don't even know they're doing wrong because they haven't even put regulation into place to say what's wrong or right. So this was done on purpose to try to get the crypto industry out of the United States, which is a huge, huge mistake in my opinion. This is a amazing technology that is attracting a lot of very, very smart, intelligent people, and we are going to push those people away. We're going to push them out of the country if we continue this anti-crypto stance. So luckily, Gary Gensler stepping down is a huge, huge win for the crypto industry. Yeah, he did do some good things in terms of trying to, there are scams in crypto. It's not a 100%, completely safe thing. I've been scammed before, which is why I would love to help you not get scammed and just show you a few rules to follow that will make your time in crypto a very enjoyable experience, and you'll be able to use those things without any issues. But it does take a hard set of rules that you have to follow. So definitely contact me, comment below if you want any sort of crypto consulting. Okay. Yes. So again, I touched on pushing innovation overseas. They did claim to protect retail investors, but typically that's more of just stopping us from being able to use this new technology under the guise of protection, as if we're some children that are just too dumb, right? Plenty of other countries have access to all these features, these exchanges, all these things, the derivatives market. But for some reason, USA, we're too dumb, we're too stupid, we can't use those things. So therefore, Gary Gensler has blocked us from being able to utilize a lot of these financial instruments online. So it's exciting to see, hopefully whoever Trump brings in will bring that regulatory clarity, will give clear rules, clear outlines of what's okay, what's not okay, what's a security, what's not a security, which will then give these exchanges, these different companies, the ability to actually comply to a set of rules so that they won't be sued left, right, and center by administration. So that's a huge win. Again, Trump's going to do many other things with the crypto industry, which is awesome. Promote mining, probably cut taxes on it, use the U.S. budget to have a strategic Bitcoin reserve, which is super important. Like I talked about in my last video, that's really, really important for the future of our debt-based economy, which we're currently in. And yeah, it should hopefully attract those people that we've pushed away and pushed out of the country, attract them back to the U.S., saying, come here, we will support you, and crypto and the technology and the infrastructure you're putting on with these blockchains, with the mining. We support you. We want you here because you're a smart person. You understand the benefits of this technology. We want you here. So that's huge. So very, very excited that Gensler will no longer be in a position to continue to stymie the crypto industry and continue to sue basically every company he can to force them out of the U.S. So super excited about that. Now, another big news item would be the potential acceptance of a Solana ETF. We already have ETFs for Bitcoin. We have ETFs for Ethereum that have been accepted. Solana is the next one in line. This has been a big debate amongst the SEC as trying to figure out what's a security and what's not. And he has, made sure that it took a long time for these Bitcoin ETFs to get approved. It took a long time for these Ethereum ETFs to get approved. It's taking a long time for the Solana ETF to get approved because Gensler has definitely stretched out this process as much as possible. If you know about the XRP lawsuit, they were trying to sue XRP, and that was a multi-year battle that XRP finally won. So basically, cryptocurrencies have been restrained by the current administration, and they are about to be unleashed by the new administration, which bodes well for everyone in the crypto space. And we've already seen the price of Bitcoin, for example, pricing in this new development. As you can see, we go to the daily chart here. I mean, we've seen huge moves here in a very short period of time, from $67,000 all the way to almost $100,000 just in less than a month, guys. This was around November, or beginning of November. We've already seen a price rise of about $30,000 in Bitcoin just in a couple of weeks, because the market is pricing in the new administration of Trump. The market is always forward thinking. So right now we're pricing in what the market thinks is going to happen in terms of what Trump is going to do to promote Bitcoin, to buy Bitcoin, to ease and give clear regulation. And the market is pricing that in. So is it too late to get in? In a way, yes, because you're just not going to be getting in at a very good price. And I do think that there's still more room to grow. I'm not a financial advisor. It's not financial advice. Do your own research, of course. I do think there's more room, but the trade that you could have made when Bitcoin was at 15,000 and everyone was saying Bitcoin was dead and everyone was fearful, that is really the time where you need to be accumulating those assets. Now is you're a little late to the party, okay? So it's already being priced in what's going to happen. So I do think there's more upside in this cycle. And if you guys do understand the Bitcoin cycle, I'll explain it to you really quick. It's really based on one thing, and that's global liquidity. The more money gets printed globally, the more Bitcoin goes up, because it's the inverse of inflation, right? The more currency units you have, the more you print, the more everything else goes up in value, right? Stocks, gold, everything goes up in value because there's more currency in the system. So each dollar is worth less and less as you print more and more. So if we look at the Bitcoin cycle, basically every 4 years we have this cycle where the Federal Reserve cuts interest rates, aka they restrain the money supply. So everything goes down in value because the value of the US dollar is actually going up because they're restraining the inflation, and they're trying to get rid of some of the excess currency in the system. So you see these price declines back in 2017. You see this big price decline. Back here in early 2021, you see this huge decline because that's when the Federal Reserve is restraining money supply, and other economies around the world typically follow the US. Now, once we get to down here, guess what happens? The Federal Reserve, they flip their policies. They start to, guess what? Cut interest rates. They start to pump new money into the system, because at this point down here, people are unhappy and people are hurting because unemployment is high, and people are having a hard time finding jobs because the interest rates are so high. So people can't take out loans on businesses to pay employees. So people, lose jobs. The economy is in a recession. It's hard. People are upset. And so then the Federal Reserve says, okay, we dumped, we got people to this point. Now we start the next phase of the cycle, which is currency printing. And that's what we see starting to happen right around here. There were actually some bank failures where banks went under, and the government had to print new money to bail out those banks to pay back those people. And so, yes, those people got their money back, but they got it with less buying power. So they really got less money back because they bailed the banks out. And then that's when you started to see this first increase in Bitcoin, was when these banks started to fail, because guess what? The government was printing money in order to bail out the banks. More currency units in the system, things that are scarce, gold, Bitcoin, silver, stocks, go up in value because there's more money in the system. That's how supply and demand, that's how this works. There's more supply in the system, so the demand for a scarce asset gets higher. So we started to see that right here. Then we had some bullish news with the ETFs getting approved finally. So there's a lot more institutional money pouring into Bitcoin, as well as the continued money global printing. China and other places were starting to print more money. So then you saw this increase here. And then, of course, recently, after this decline here, all the way to 50,000, that's when the market was wondering what's going to happen with the election, because we have one administration that's really anti-crypto, could really do things to hurt the industry, especially in the US. So we're uncertain. People were uncertain. People weren't ready to invest yet. Once the news came out that Donald Trump was in office and it's a pro-crypto administration, now you see the next leg of the market here as it's pricing in what is likely to happen under Trump, which is him probably buying and getting a lot of Bitcoin. And then because of that, a lot of people in the US and around the world probably start to see Bitcoin as a legit currency and not a scam or not some crazy thing. And so they start buying. And so we see, again, supply and demand here. The demand is going to go up significantly when the president of our country is talking about it on a public stage and saying he's going to spend US assets on Bitcoin, right? That's, everyone goes, oh, we all know about this now. The demand goes up, and the supply of Bitcoin continues to be scarce. There's only going to be 21 million ever in circulation. And so again, this is a scarce asset. We have demand increasing. We have more currency units being printed throughout economies, not in the US, but elsewhere, putting more currency units into the system, meaning there's more money for people to buy more Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And so we combine all these factors and we see the next rise in price. And it's actually kind of crazy how Bitcoin on this 4-year cycle just continues. Like, for example, I was, investing in Bitcoin, of course, a lot down here, right? Because I understand what Bitcoin is, and I understand the cycle, the part of the cycle that we were in. So I was investing a lot here, and I was waiting, and I was wondering, okay, there's always a catalyst. Every cycle, every 4 years, there's always some sort of catalyst. Typically, it's the money printing that kind of sends Bitcoin to a new all-time high, and it's happened every time in its history. The same 4-year cycle, it's like clockwork. And I was wondering what's going to be the new catalyst this time, right? What is it going to be? And I wasn't sure. And it turns out the election, Trump winning, it was the new catalyst to send it to an all-time high. So I knew there was going to be a catalyst, because there pretty much always is every 4 years. I was just wondering, what is it going to be? I don't know exactly what it's going to be. So it ended up being that, and that has sent this obviously super high. Now, if we look just at an index here, the volume is still relatively low on the monthly chart, for example, which we still do have 9 more days left on this volume. So it is a bit low. I don't necessarily think that's great. Usually at the top of a cycle, you want to see some really, really high volume. So that tells me that we're not at the top yet. That tells me that we're going to find a top, and when the top happens, we're going to see these massive volume spikes like what happened here. If I find a better chart that would show it better, that would happen here. Those massive volume spikes tell you that a lot of retail are getting in and putting in trades, and that's when you know we're kind of at the top and it's time for the next cycle down. So the volume is still, again, pretty low for this cycle, which again shows, I think, the potential for more upside. We should see some higher. Well, it depends on these are all different exchanges, so it kind of depends. Every exchange is a little different. Binance makes sense. That would be an exchange that would show that, really aggressive price. So we have not even come close to really the aggressive volume that we usually see kind of at the top of these bull markets. So, but again, that doesn't mean you should just go buy. Like if you do not understand the fundamentals of what Bitcoin is, then you should not be buying Bitcoin. You should be investing in. I'm more of a believer in invest what you know. If you know a lot about stocks, invest in stocks. If you know a lot about gold, invest in gold. I tend to focus my energy here on the crypto market, so that's what I invest in, and that's what I focus on. So I say invest in what you know. And then again, here's the price of Solana, which has been steadily increasing as well, and the volume has been exploding on Solana. I even use it quite a bit. It's fast, it's quick, it's cheap. So I understand why it's progressing the way it is. So yeah, it's really cool to see these things happening, especially when for me, the last 4 years have been dedicated to just working my tail off, investing as much as I can, keeping my lifestyle really low in terms of what I was spending money on, because I had more money to invest in different things. And so I've just been grinding, because I know the cycle, and I know that this was the part of the cycle I needed to be grinding for money and investing, because this part of the cycle now is when you reap the benefits, and when you got to start selling some of your stacks, and when you got to start, maybe you can increase your lifestyle a little bit because a little more money's coming in, right? Until the next cycle, the next downturn, right? And that's when you got to flip the script again, lower the lifestyle a little bit. So I just want to give you those quick, brief news updates on that. Gary Gensler out of the SEC chairman, and Solana ETF potentially being approved here pretty soon, and probably more ETFs to follow with different cryptocurrencies that gain popularity. So there's a lot of optimism in the crypto space and a lot of good things coming forward. So guys, as always, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel. And as always, guys, be your own bank, baby. See you guys in the next one.